What's up, Facebook? What's up, friends? What's up, family? Happy Mercury Day. It's Mercury Day. It's Wednesday. And I haven't done a live in the garden on Facebook. And so I put videos here from Instagram for y'all to watch. But I don't know how often they're watched on Facebook, the ones from Instagram. So I wanted to come on here and show you guys what I am doing in the garden. I have a Loquat tree back here that needs some help. She's getting burnt up by the sun. And like I said, I've been doing some lives on Instagram about making shade structures. I share those videos here, and I hope you guys are watching them if you are building a garden in the desert or anywhere hot. I have friends asking me from all over the country, actually, in a lot of different hot places in Georgia and in Texas and in other states, that their plants are burning up, or what's happening with, you know, the different summers that they're having there, and more heat. What's going on? You guys might not. Let me pull this a little closer. How can we keep our plants alive? And to be honest with you, if we can do it here in the desert, I know you can do it too. You can see, I guess I should have kept this down for a minute. I'm sitting here in front of salvia in the insect part of my garden, and I have multiple blooming, flowering plants right here. It's probably 110 degrees or something like that in the desert, and our garden is thriving right now. It's looking so beautiful. I'm so happy to be here on this little piece of land and to be able to do this. Actually, let's go ahead and just look around really quick and this with y'all yet. So I'm not live. So like I said, I'm sitting here in front of some salvia. We have a couple other blooming plants here in the front. That's going to be the Loquat tree that we work on here. I'm going to put a shade structure up, but it's a couple really beautiful plants blooming right now. Okay, so it looks like the signal's a little bit weird, guys, so hopefully it doesn't drop off. But these are dahlias. Look at this beautiful, amazing flower here. One of the prettiest flowers on the earth, I think. She's just getting ready to bloom all over. We have actually multiple blooms of her happening. So this is a shade structure. This is going to be what I build here for the Loquat tree. I just put this up on this mango tree last week before we went out of town, and the amount of growth that has taken place since putting this shade structure up is mind-blowing. Like, for real, I cannot believe I waited so long to do this. This tree would already be so much bigger, and I feel really foolish. But like, all of this growth has happened in a week. It's like literally like blowing my mind, all that in 1 week. Just because this tree is a tropical tree, it's made to be somewhere where it's not 110 degrees and a little bit more moisture. And it's actually okay with the heat, but it's the sun. The sun is just so strong. You can actually see even here on the dahlia some of the leaves getting browned on the edges because the sun is just so strong. No matter how much I water them, some of these plants just cannot take this heat. But some can take it really well, like this lemongrass. Lemongrass does really good in the temperatures, 105, 110 with the sun. Oh, there's a hummingbird in the little pollinator area. What are you looking for, sweetie? Oh, she's over on the little yellow. She's looking for everything. I love it. Hi. She's up with a moringa tree. Moringa is another one that does really well in the desert. It's taking the heat amazing. This tree grows probably like 4 inches every day or something. We do have flowers though all around the garden, and these are not being protected. I am watering them very consistently, but you can see there's a lot of diversity of different flowers all around the garden because of the wood chips, guys. It's all because of the wood chips. If you can see here, the wood chips are really dry. This is as dry as it gets. There is absolutely no moisture here on the top of this wood chips. But if I dig down, already you can see the color changing, that darkness there, that's moisture. If you dig down, not even that far down, you can tell that there is quite a bit of moisture. Look at that. Look at the difference. There is a lot of moisture underneath these wood chips. And a friend actually, oh, there's some roots. So I need to stop going because that's somebody's roots right there. So someone's roots have traveled all the way out here. It's probably this guava tree here. Look at the guavas getting big. And this is the first year she's in the ground. I bet that's her roots though. So I'm going to stop because that's what's happening. These trees are pushing their roots all around throughout the wood chips because the wood chips have a ton of water in them underneath. And I just have this dried, a friend called it a crust. Exactly. It makes a crust on the top. Dried crust on top. If I dig, let's try to find a place where there's not going to be roots. If I dig right underneath though, there's moist wood chips. There's moisture. There's mycelium. Look at that. Boom, right there, right when I said it. That white stringy stuff is mycelium. That is, boom, right there. That's the parent of mushrooms. That mycelium is going to actually create a whole interconnected underground network. Look at that. Look at that white. That's all mycelium, guys. It's 105, 110, 100, I think we even hit 112 degrees in the desert. And I have mushroom spores, 3 inches underneath the top of my ground. And it's because of the wood chips. Everything that is happening in this garden is due to the wood chips. They are magic. And what's going to happen even more, or as time progresses even more, is I'm going to actually have these wood chips are going to turn into dirt. They're going to decompose and they're going to turn into dirt. And I'm going to continue to build soil on top of this really strong, crazy clay-like, you can't even really call it soil, this native soil that we have here. It's not native, actually. It's stuff that they brought in for the build. So when they built this neighborhood, they call it cellite, and it's like mostly clay. It's so hard. It's ridiculous. I'm actually building my own soil here. This foot of wood chips here is going to break down into nutrient-rich black gold soil. And these plants, as you just saw over here, will actually start to grow into it. Initially, we're planting mostly trees. Like I said, that's a guava tree there. That's a banana tree there. I have an olive tree. I have a mulberry tree. I have a mandarin tree over there. I have blackberries here. I have grapevines on the gate here. Grapevines, and actually this is a loofah plant as well, intertwined in here. We have some princess grapes down there. I have a pomegranate bush. I have a fig tree. I have a jujube tree back there. So initially when you're planting a food forest, you want to start with all perennials. Got these pomegranates trying. I had one pomegranate set fruit, but the fruit dropped. Where are you at? Here you are. She dropped. But that's okay. We're going to keep babering this plant. First year in, so you never really know what you're going to get. I have gotten some harvests already, though. Ooh, figs. We got figs. We have figs. Oh, that fig is ready. With my dirty hands, it just fell right off into my hand. I'm going to eat her. Look at that. First year in the ground, you guys, I got figs. And this is like the 5th or 6th fig that I've gotten off this tree. Tree. There's a couple more that are going to come. She's not ready yet. Yummy. That's great. There's a little baby one right there too. I'll leave that one for the birds. It's all about the trees initially. And then we can come in, and once the trees start and break up some of this cellite soil, like I said, underneath, and we get more of the earth start to be created, the good dirt be created, we can start to plant the annuals. We can come in and plant tomatoes and different vines, although this loofah vine did really well. I can come in and plant those other annual crops, but we start with the trees, trees that like the heat, the trees that can take the super crazy sun and the high temperatures, and we start with a lot of wood chips. A lot of wood chips. As much wood chips as you can put down. This is not done. I'll probably put at least 2 more truckfuls on this this small, I think it's about 720 square foot front yard garden. I'll put at least 2 more truckfuls on this piece of land in the fall. As many wood chips as we can put, that's what we want to do. Because like we saw, there's a crust on top, there's moisture underneath there, and that's where the plants can grow. So like this mango tree back here that is absolutely thriving. I'm so happy with her, so proud of her. This mango tree that is absolutely thriving, being covered up. I'm going to make another cover here with this loquat tree because she's looking kind of sad. Let me turn it back around. And come on, man, look at those dahlias, y'all. I don't even know what to say about them. It's just such a pretty flower. Look at her. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. All right, so this loquat is a little burnt up and she needs some help, and I should have already been on her, but there's so many things I'm doing that I just hadn't gotten to her yet. And you can tell this is just sunburn. That's what this is. And loquats are actually really well adapted to the desert, but she is getting burned. And no matter how much I water her, she's a new tree, first year, she just can't take the heat. So I'm going to cut this bamboo stick down here down, and we're going to put her a nice little shade structure up so that she can thrive. Because I do want her to thrive. I want all of these trees to survive. I don't want to lose any of them. I've lost 1 passion flower vine so far. 1 goji berry bush in the very, very beginning. Peace, what's cracking? And I think that's it so far. We haven't lost any trees yet. Have we lost any trees yet? No trees. This loquat though is looking kind of scary. Have you seen how much the mango? Check that mango, man. Look how much more the growth. It's just been crazy since putting that up.
You're gonna have to get a bigger tent.
Well, we gotta watch it, but maybe. I mean, those things don't get too much taller. Dad just got home, but all right. So I'm gonna build it. So a couple of very simple things I'm using, and this is something that we can all do in our gardens when the sun is too strong, when the plants are too young. You don't have to not build a garden because you live in a climate that is aggressive. The sun here is aggressive. If you're in the desert, or because of climate change, or hotter, stronger, longer summers. You don't have to watch your garden suffer. You don't have to not plant a garden because of it. You can baby the plants a bit while they're young and they're growing. You can put a lot of ground cover on the earth, wood chips. You can do living ground cover like clover, and clover is kind of the one that just came to my mind first. It's a nitrogen fixer as well, which is going to help actually improve the soil for future generations. You can put straw. There's other things that sweet potato vines, cowpeas, even sweet potato vines or clover are good ground covers. But make sure you're covering the earth so that it's holding in the moisture and protecting it from the sun. And you can kind of nurse the garden into self-sustainability, because that's what trees do. Every ecosystem has at least 3 nursery trees, and the nursery trees are like mothers. They're literally like mothers. They're the caretakers of the forest. They're going to come in and literally take care of the forest while it's growing up. They're going to connect with that mycelium, that white stringy stuff that I showed you that's on the wood chips. They're going to... You want to give me a glass of water? Thank you so much. They're going to interconnect. That mycelium can actually grow through the roots of plants. That mycelium is going to grow in between those roots of these first trees, the really strong, big trees. The mycelium is going to grow through those roots and are going to actually interchange and exchange nutrients, oxygen, and water between the different plants. So the first trees, the big trees, let's say like this Moringa tree, who basically needs no help to survive really anywhere, but definitely not where it's hot. Let's say like this Moringa tree, she's going to grow first with a couple other trees. Let's say this golden peach here because she's doing really well. And let's say the jujube tree. Let's say that. Those 3 trees are going to be the nursery trees of this garden, and also the mulberry tree too. She's thriving. And they are going to grow up first because they're the strongest and the most suitable to this environment. They don't need much protection at all. So they're going to grow up big and strong and tall first, and then they're going to create an ecosystem under the ground. Thank you so much. That is, thank you. Give me a moment. that can actually support the smaller plants that need some help to survive the first few years. That could even be like the first 10 years in a real forest. They're going to provide shade, right? So I'm creating shade structures because I don't have enough nursery trees here initially I didn't plant 5, 6, 10 Moringa trees the first year, which I planned on doing, at some point. If the property was larger, I'd probably plant like 15 Moringa trees the first year. That would be really hard for me to be patient, but I would try and let them create their own canopy so I wouldn't actually have to come and build these shade structures. But like I said, what I'm doing is I'm acting as the nursery tree. I'm actually stepping in and being the nursery tree and helping baby these plants so that we can all make it together. Because side by side, we're much stronger together. And especially, in a forest. A forest teaches us the ways of life. The ways of life are about being together. No one on earth wants to be here alone. And that's even for the people there's some people who say, I don't like humans. You wouldn't want to be here by yourself, though. You would have no one to talk to. You would have no one to relate with. You'd have no one to do anything with, and you wouldn't be happy here. Nobody actually wants to be here alone. We're here to be here together. That's life, and it's about interdependence. This is a message I've been sharing on Facebook, especially for a long time. It's a 3-point message that the plants gave to me some years ago. It's about interdependence, diversity, and nourishment. We are all really different. Every single plant in this food forest garden is different. They serve a different purpose. They have different needs, different requirements. They produce different food, different medicine. Some grow taller, some grow shorter, some grow fatter, some grow longer, some are on the ground, some grow really, really high up. There's so much diversity. They all fulfill a different niche. Because they're different, they're interdependent upon each other. We can't be the same. I don't understand why people want everyone to be the same and want to have all the same opinions and believe in the same things. Like, it's impossible. It's not possible. It's not healthy. Without difference, we've got these big, huge black beetles buzzing around. Hey, friend. Hey. It's not possible. Life is not healthy when everything is the same. She must be trying to be on camera right now. We have to be different. And the forest proves us this truth. It proves us, in order to have a healthy, self-sustaining ecosystem, everyone must be different. Everyone must fulfill their own niche and do the best they can do in their niche. And in doing the best that we each can do in our individual lives and in our individual niches, we can actually support one another and create an entire ecosystem of healthy living beings doing what they do best. That's life. That's what Mother Earth teaches us. That's why living with food forests are so much more than just having fresh food that you can pick, walking around your property. It's because the earth literally teaches us how to create healthy, sustainable ecosystems. Living in cities, we're disconnected from these base messages, these basic, simple messages of how to live together, how to be together. It's so simple. But complex too at the same time. Simple and complex at the same time. Anyways, I could talk about this so long. There's so much I could say about plants. And you guys have gotten so much from me over the years. I've been kind of quiet though on Facebook with it, and that's why I wanted to do this live, because I have a community here of people that want this message and this love and this information and energy too. And I'm not into just abandoning people that I love and that love me and care for me. So I want to do this live and share this and show you guys how to save your plants from getting burned up by the sun. And it works. So let's go ahead and just do that. And I'll cut the talking, because I can just literally just babble on forever about this. Trying to find motivation within myself again to get some projects going again. I start school in like 8 weeks or so in August, the end of August. And I do think I must be just making a shift, and it must be necessary, because I just don't feel the same way like I used to about things. But there's so much in me, so I won't stop also. All right, so a couple pieces of equipment that we're going to be using. This is a post driver. Coming in? Is it light? Oh, the coconut tree? Pick it up. Does the pot feel light? I just watered it yesterday.
Oh, yesterday? Okay.
Does it feel light?
No.
Not really light? Yeah, it's probably fine. You can water anything else, though, that's not in pots. If you want water. Just not the pots. If the pots are light. Really good way to check if your potted plants need water is if they're light. You do not want to overwater potted plants. That's the number one thing that people do with potted plants in their house, outside of their house, is overwater them. The roots die. They suffocate. So don't overwater your potted plants. It's a really big message when you're growing plants in pots. When they're in the earth, it's almost impossible to overwater them unless it's really cold and there's no sun and low photosynthesis is happening and you're not in really good draining dirt. Wow, I'm sitting right on top of an ant trail. I didn't recognize. I wonder why I had a couple ants keep crawling on me, but there's a lot here. So cool. I just love all the different bugs. I digress. Post driver. This is a post driver. You can see it's hollow on the inside. This is a big old hole or hollowed out piece of metal, solid here. This will actually allow us to push these posts into the ground, which I'm going to show you here in a few moments how to do. It's really, really easy to do. This is actually how you build fences, like gates and fences. So this is normally for something like that. But you can use posts and a post driver to make any type of structure, really. I guess probably not a house, but shoot, if it came down to it, you need to build a house on your own, you could probably build a house with even these bad boys with the right materials in between. But, you know, and red ants are pretty nice when you're nice to them. Like, it's so interesting with red ants. Like, people have like this fear of red ants, and I do get bit sometimes by them. But they're really cool if you're cool with them. Like, if you don't hate them just because they're here, red ants are pretty cool. All right, post driver is going to be the primary tool that I use in this build out. And you can get this at like Home Depot, Lowe's, any of the big box home improvement stores. Back in the lumber section, you're going to find the posts as well, the gate posts. They're like in the gating section, as well as this post driver in the lumber section. And you feel really like you're really about to build some stuff going back there. Like, I always feel like super official, like going to Home Depot and like going to the garden center. Like, that's cool, but you know, you're going to get plants, and like going to Home Depot and getting like light bulbs, like that's cool, but you're getting light bulbs. But going to Home Depot and going to the lumber aisle, man, I feel like I'm like really doing some stuff. I'd be feeling like really official going back there. So go back to the lumber aisles and you get yourself a post driver. And there's a bunch of different shapes and sizes of posts. Let's see if I'm gonna be able to pull this out. I'm starting to get larger ones because the smaller ones, the trees are growing so fast. But I started there. Whoops. There's a lot of different sizes of posts though. I got the real big daddy large ones for this because I know that the Loquat is a good fast grower and is accustomed to the desert. So I have a feeling that once I get her covered, she's going to do well. But this is a post, again, actually made for gating and fencing. We would take something like larger squared chicken wire and hook it onto or place it onto these individual ridges here. But we're going to use this. We're going to use the post driver to dig it into the earth, and we're going to cover it with this shade cloth. I think it's 30% shade cloth. You can see it's got a whole bunch of holes in it, and it just provides kind of like a canopy, just like some baby nursery trees. Provides a canopy for them. It's going to protect them from that sun, when it's like, gosh, from like noon to like 4, man, that sun is a beast. And you know it if you're in it in the desert, and even if you're not in the desert and you're in, you know, up in the Pacific Northwest, I know that it can get super hot there. I hear you guys are having a hotter summer. If you're in Texas, if you're in anywhere and you're starting a new garden, the sun can be extremely aggressive in the middle of the day, and the plants just need a little bit of help to be able to grow bigger and stronger, get a stronger, wider root bed, to get more leaves to be able to survive on their own. Especially trees. You know, trees can make it in those temperatures when they are not by themselves and they're not left alone, when they have a community to depend on. So I'm their community until these other trees get bigger and stronger. See this jujube behind me right here? This is a jujube. That tree is going to grow up really quickly. Actually, next year she'll get really, really large. Not as fast as the moringa, but she grows pretty fast. And she'll provide shade for this loquat and for this elderberry and for this fig. But until then, I'm going to be their helper. So I'm going to go ahead and put a couple posts in the ground. It's going to be pretty quick. And then I'm going to stripe or to hang this shade cloth over those posts. And I will show you how I'm protecting these plants and being their caretaker while they're little babies. Okay. All right, so let's see. I don't have a lot of space over here today. Kind of in a corner of the thing, some other way. Very simple to use, friends. Very, very simple to use. Oh, I had 5 in here. I thought there were only 4. I stole one of these from Home Depot. Only paid for 4. My bad. My bad, Home Depot. Last one. Boom, bang, y'all. That is the 4 posts. I think you can see all 4 of those too. What's up, friends? I see y'all coming up. What's up, Bull? Sister, what's up, sister? Philip, what's up, y'all? It does take a little bit of muscle to get those in, but I'm not like, oh, I got some muscle, but I'm not like, you know, a big person. And I can get these in. I put all of these in myself all around this garden. So you can do it. You don't have to have help. You don't have to hire somebody to come out and do this for you. You can do it yourself. And the post driver is so strong. It's such a powerful tool that makes it super simple. You saw just a couple of hits, maybe 5, 6, 10 hits max on each one. And they go in, and they go into some hard dirt. Well, I shouldn't say it's hard because it's actually quite moist underneath. So it's pretty soft and pliable, but it's clay, and there's rocks under there too. And so, like when I'm putting them in, I was trying to just put them in myself. Initially, I did actually put quite a few in just myself without the post driver in the earlier parts of the season, and the rocks would get in the way, and I couldn't do it. I'd have to stop because the rocks would get in the way. But the post driver pushes the rocks right out of the way. They don't become an issue at all. So now I'm going to cut some cloth, and again, this is, I think, 30%. Also at like Home Depot. Where's my little thing? When you're working in the garden, you're on wood chips. I just have a little mat that I sit on so that I don't pick up wood chips all over the place, and so I don't sit on ant mounds and different friends of the garden. But all right, so now I'm going to guesstimate about how much of this, where's my scissors, of this shade cloth that I need. Again, 30%-ish. Pretty standard. If you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, or even your local nursery, they're going to have shade cloth there. There is black, green, and the white. I have green. My friend Frank, my plant brethren and neighbor, Frank gave me some green, and I haven't used it yet, mostly because I only have used the white. I know that white reflects light, and black and the darker colors actually absorb it, and so my thinking is to use the lighter color so that we're not capturing more of that heat in. So I'm going to stick with the light colors for the summer, and the darker colors would actually be better, like if you needed to protect your plants during the winter time. Shade covers can also be used as frost covers. Not always, because they're going to have holes in them, so it might not always work depending on how cold it gets. You might have to have a solid protector if you're in a really cold areas. But here in the desert, especially like a colder color or a darker color one could actually provide some protection against the frost too, although we don't really get frost just from like the colder temperatures. So I might end up keeping some of these posts like around that mango tree and putting up frost protectors around her if we do dip down into have a colder winter, which does happen here. And I've never been up in this part of the valley during winter, so we'll see. But 30% shade cloth, find it at any nursery store, just about. I'm gonna do about that much. Super reusable too. I use it and I cut it, bring them down, and I reuse it, and I rebuild them, and I bring it down and I reuse it. So I love that about this. It's not like using once and then having to throw it away. I'm using zip ties. I've also used pipe cleaners. I've used rubber bands. I've used anything that I can get. That's another thing about gardening, and once you really start to get in tune with, you know, how the earth works. The earth works with what it has. So in your garden, I would recommend the same thing. You know, work with what you have. You don't always have to have all the nicest, newest, most expensive things, especially if you're on a budget or you're trying to make it work with, you know, somewhat limited resources. You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money on everything. You know, use what you had. Before I got these, which they're like $3, the children make ton of things with pipe cleaners, so I just use pipe cleaners, and yeah, they look kind of crazy, but they worked though. And actually I still have some up All right. All right, friends, so that's it. That is my shade cloth for my Loquat tree. You see, I'm gonna leave the sides open because she is a desert-friendly tree. And I think that she's gonna do fine once the sun, when it's coming right above the top, is blocked. I think that's really the issue, is the top part of the tree. I think she's going to be okay with the morning sun coming up that way, and this tree, actually this mesquite tree, actually provides quite a bit of shade in the afternoon. But I think it's just this like 2-hour trip or so when the sun is right above head that is the big issue, and the part that needs some savings and some protecting. So that's her. I gave her bigger posts so she has quite a bit of room to grow, hoping that this survives us through the summer. If it doesn't, then I'll just make another one that's bigger or something, and just keep being their caretakers, because that's really what a garden is all about. I have friends asking me about this garden and saying that they want to plant gardens, and I just want to make sure that, especially if you make it to the end of this video, if you actually watch this back, that you hear the word food forest garden. It is so important to look at different ways of planting a garden, and to not do it just the way that the people before us did it. I recently had an elder say to me, oh, what's happening to the world, the way the world's going, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, but do you know that this is your world? You guys were here before us. Y'all created this world. It was the way of the elders, at least in the most recent generations, that created the current world. And I think that it's really important that the younger generations recognize that and realize that and take accountability and responsibility for what we're recreating as we are the primary caretakers of the earth. You know, it's the 20s, between the 20s and the 40s are the years of the primary caretaking. We are the ones that are creating the culture for tomorrow. And so if we do things just like the previous generation did them, chances are we're going to have the exact same type of a future. And if the previous generation is telling us, oh, the world has gone to hell, what's going, like, we can't believe where the world is at, then we don't want to do what they did, y'all. We don't want to follow in their footsteps. We want to do things differently. And when it comes to gardening, just a few generations ago, we began to see, farms and gardens become these monocrop, but even if it's not monocrop, meaning just one crop or just a few crops, but these annual plants, these plants that need to be planted every year, they need a ton of water, they need compost brought in, they need all this toil and all this work and all this investment of energy, and it creates a weak ecosystem and a weak food system. Not ecosystem too, but it creates a weak food system. And this is the food system that we've been living off of for many decades now. It's not really sustainable, and I'm not going to say it's not working, because look at what it's built. Pretty much anything we do on the earth will work, but it's not sustainable, and it isn't the best way that we can do things. We can do things better, and creating food forests, creating self-sustaining food systems that are based on perennial plants that reproduce their own food every year without us having to toil and having to work so hard. Maybe the first couple years we have to step in and be their caretakers, but after the first couple years, we don't have to do so much, and we're able to take our energy and put our energy into other more important projects than where our food grows. Because I don't know if y'all noticed, but we don't actually grow plants. We don't actually grow the food. The earth does. She actually knows what she's doing. She's really good at growing plants. And so we just have to get out of her way and let her grow the food that she desires to grow for the humans and the life on earth. It doesn't need so much work. It doesn't need so much thought even, or so much commitment of time and energy and resources. The earth knows how to grow plants. That's what this living womb we call Mother Earth does. She grows plants, and she does it really, really well. When we get out of her way and we allow the ecosystem to develop, it creates a self-sustaining system that grows plants that feed the life there. And food forests are, urban opportunities for us to do that right here on our own land. So no matter how small of a plot of land that you have access to, no matter how large of a plot of land you have access to, you can plant a food forest. You can encourage that little piece or that big piece of land that you have access to be a self-sustaining food system for you, your family, your neighbors, your community, your city, your flipping country. It's just the possibility. So I've been talking about them for years. I think I feel much different now being back on the dirt, though. I really did miss having a garden, and I feel so good being here with these friends. So this is the shade structure, friends, and this is my food forest garden, and it's gonna look really cool once I get all these, once the season passes and it cools off. I cannot wait to take all these shade structures off and show you guys what is here. You're gonna be mind blown at the little mini forest that I've planted in the middle of the desert. I cannot wait to show it. I can't wait to see it myself, and I can't wait to show my friends and my family and my neighbors and the people that are watching what you can do with trees and wood chips and a little bit of work and commitment. It's mind blowing. So, all right, y'all, got to get back in the house, get some things done in there. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you enjoy this knowledge and information, and I'll come live again on Facebook sooner than later. Peace, y'all.